Hey everyone, it's M4J here, and for the first time in what feels like forever, welcome back to the new M4J network here on openttd. It has been a while. Got some updates to update you all on, as well as recording an actual episode, getting back stuck into it. So first of all, where has this series gone? It's not gone anywhere necessarily, but unfortunately things haven't quite moved along as quickly as I was hoping for with certain things. No fault of anyone in particular. It's just one of those things, life gets in the way sometimes. So I've been waiting for the timetables to be complete for a couple of aspects of the network so that I can go on and start adding in some trains. And Master Trams has been helping me out with that, but unfortunately, due to this, that, and the other, work commitments and things like that, I've not had time necessarily to provide stuff when needed. Master Trams hasn't necessarily had time to work on the timetable because, let's be honest, at the end of the day, neither of us get paid for this. This is all voluntary, as it were. And I wish I could pay people to help me with this, believe me, because I would in a heartbeat. But unfortunately, not in that position right now. So I can totally understand this is a very, very low priority in the grand scheme of things. Plus, when you work for the railways for a living, you probably don't want to work for the railways in your spare time as well. So I totally get that. But yeah, it means things have ground to a halt. I will tell you that the first franchise that we're looking to accurately timetable is the high-speed network. We've got to the point where the SRT, sectional running times, have been completed. And we're ready to actually start creating a timetable, and Master Trams has been working hard on that when he can. In the meantime, I've been coming up with ideas for what I can do with the network here, along with also coming up with ideas for the tutorial series, which will be returning in the not too distant future as well. And I've got some ideas, things that I'd like to get started on, basically. As for the tutorial series, I'm looking for ideas for tutorials still. I've got some. We've already done 10. Can you believe it? I struggled to come up with 10 ideas initially, but now I've done 10. I've got like another 10 potentially in the pipeline, but I'm always looking out for any way that I can help new players or even existing players who want to learn new skills when it comes to openttd. So if you've got anything that you're struggling with regarding the game, or any ideas, or if you're new to the game and there's something you'd like to see, let me know down below. It's what it's there for. Alrighty then, so on to today's episode. So I've got a few weeks now to come up with ideas for episodes to sort of fill the gaps whilst the timetables are being worked on. And one area that I wanted to work on was over here again at Sanley. So we've got this tram network that we created. We've also got the new Sanley lines, which you saw me looking over just now, and also adding some fake track next to, because why not? So you've got the Sanley Bay lines. There's the one here that goes down to Sanley Harbour, not to be confused with Sanley. And then there's also these two here, one that goes down this way to Genningville Sandbank. That's a nice name, actually. I might keep that one. And then one that comes down here to a terminus over here at Fluntown Transfer. That's going to get renamed because this is technically a shipping location. Speaking of shipping locations, one of my plans, not necessarily for today's episode, but one of the future episodes, will be to build a freight terminal / dock. And I think I'm going to extend this waterway into this area and have it so that it's accessible from these main lines. I think that would be a good idea. There is also somewhere along here, I believe. Over there. This sawmill, which I am going to keep the sawmill, but I'm going to redo the connections here because I never was 100% happy with those. And then I'll also create a new connection to this side of the track, or maybe it will be here and it will loop round, something like that. And then that'll be one of the industries that will plug in. So I've kind of lost my way a little bit with the freight terminals on this network, and the idea is to have a freight terminal as a central hub and then connect up surrounding industries to it through trucks, smaller trains, whatever it might be. I kind of lost my way and not really been doing that recently, so I'm going to get back into that. But today we're going to be back over here at Sanley. I've got some ideas. So I want to add a new tram line. I want to connect this branch here over to this branch here via a central avenue. Kind of looking, actually. Maybe I don't want to do that. Maybe I can use buses for that. But I want to get the trams running on these lines at the very least. That'll be the first thing we do. We'll be building a depot and creating some lines. I also want to rebuild this depot here because this is awful. I hate it. I want to redo it. So I'm going to utilize this space over here, create a brand new set of sidings. And this is something I learned in the tutorial series, actually, was if I have the depot here be the first order to, or be the order that gets affected by scheduled dispatch, then trains will just arrive in the sidings here and sit here. And then the idea would be, it would look like it's being parked in the sidings for the night rather than disappearing into the void in one of these two depots. So I like that idea, and I'm going to use that idea. So I'm going to create a new set of sidings in this little area here, and then it's going to expand out into this big area here. I'm also going to redo the connections so that this line here, the remaining line, will be the one that heads up this way towards, I think it's Charwood, in that direction. And then the connection to the southern line will be via a new connection here that will branch off this way and go through here. And then it'll probably snake its way through this section here and then down and connect up, and I think that'll work better. And this station here will become 2 platforms. The main line will come down this way, and yeah, somehow it'll connect up over here and it'll all be fine and dandy. That's somewhat my plan for today's episode, but the first thing I want to do is get these trams running, because I think by far that is going to be the most lucrative and important part of this episode. So I'm going to choose a site probably around here-ish for a tram depot. I think I can get, yeah, there. I can get a tram line that comes down this way, and then we can build our depot over here. And then you can also have like the railway snaking through the gaps here between railway depots and tram depots and all that good stuff. This industry area here is probably going to be removed in order for that to happen. So let's get cracking, shall we? Alright, so we've built our tram depot over here. I built it quite big, same reason as I was talking about the railway depot here. I'm going to try and have the trams use this as the scheduled dispatch kind of holding area. So even this might not be big enough, we might have to make it even bigger. And then we've got this, which is going to work as a waypoint. So this is going to be for speed limit control. And then, yeah, trams will run through the town and outwards. And also we built this new line here, which does need to have its stops named, but I think I'm going to do that probably off camera, because some of these they're okay, they're not the worst names, put it that way. So yeah, we've got this little loop here, and then the trams come back. Now, one thing I was considering doing was having sort of trams managing multiple routes. So like it would start down here at Sanley Harbour, go through Sanley Central, and then up this way to Bradhatton, however you want to say it. Doesn't really work though in the grand scheme of things, because basically here trams would be reversing. If we had more branches here to the west and the south, then it would make more sense. And there is a potential to have another branch up here, but I think this would be better off for buses, and that's something I've got to remember, is we will have buses here as well. Now, I've been thinking of names for this new system that we've got here, and I'm going to kind of go with the misnomer So I'm going to put Sanley here. It's something that winds people up a lot, I know, but it's something I think Sanley would do, which is to call it the Sanley Metro and have this be for trams, not a metro like an underground system or a metro like the Paris Metro or anything like that. It's going to be a tram / light rail system that's going to fall under the banner of metro because they want to sound all hip and trendy and whatever. So that's the plan. Let's get on with it. Okay, first order's on the board. Let me talk you through it. So we've got SM01, which is the Sanley Central to Sanley Harbour service here. It's operated by this super tram, although that may change in the future. 243 passengers, that should be fairly okay for what I want to do here. You can see I've set the depot here as the start endpoint, and also regarding the schedule here itself. So we start at midnight. Technically, although we really start at 6:07, and then we operate every half an hour till 7:07, so there'll be 3 departures here. Then it's every 10 minutes, right the way through the day until we get to here, 7 minutes past 8 in the evening, and then it's every 15 minutes until we get to 10 p.m, and then it's every half an hour again until we get to 37 minutes past. Could probably do the last departure of the day at 1:07, and then there's a 5-hour gap, and then they start up again. I think that is a pretty good way to start. Now this tram will of course leave its first schedule here, so it'll be leaving the depot at 7 past, 37 past, 7 past, and so on and so on. So by the time we actually get to Sanley Central here, it will probably be another couple of minutes. So we're probably looking at like 10 past, and then 22, 10 past, and again, so on and so on. That's the plan. I'm going to run this schedule with this vehicle, and hopefully, what's the time at the moment? So we're coming up to 6 p.m, so it's 17:59 in terms of the network here. So I'm going to set this vehicle off. It says waiting due to timetable, but it shouldn't be, because we should be running to here. Right, now let's do it. This is probably not going to work the way I anticipated, but yeah, I'm going to run it like this anyway, and then we're going to come back once it's fully populated and start working on the next ones. Okay, so I thought that was going to work and it didn't, unfortunately. I decided to replace the vehicle halfway through, you might have seen. So we've not got Super Trams anymore, we've now got Jubilee Trams. This one here, it says they're built in 2106, but it was actually built or designed in 1980, which still fits in with what we're doing here. Capacity of 108, so it's a bit of a downgrade. But the reason I decided to switch to this one instead was because you may have noticed some of the single tile tram stops here. There was, oh wow, that's a lot of, yeah, a lot of passengers. There was some overhang, so the 3 unit long tram wouldn't fit in the platforms here, if you can call them platforms. So decided to change that. Now this is ridiculous, some of the passenger generation here. Also the fact that they're not going anywhere, or they're happy to go to any station, which is good for the old profit margin, but it's not so good for the old realism. Very rarely do you get someone hop on a tram and not care where they go. So that might be something that we have to address. Cargo Dist will hopefully take over and take care of that. Right, so this tram's going to autofill again, and hopefully this time around it will complete its schedule properly. I did originally have the depot here set to 60 minutes, but I've changed it back to 1. The reason being is I don't think it matters. I think you can imagine the tram will just go in and reverse. We could even just take this off and have it just go to and from this depot here. That might be something that I try with this next one and see how we go. So first of all, SMO2. There we are. We're going to buy ourselves one of these Jubilee trams here. We're going to stick you over here. And we're going to do something very similar to what we've already done. I'll do this one on camera, just so you guys can see what it is I'm doing. First of all, you are a non-stop via. This one here is a non-stop via. Oh, I also forgot to change you. No unloading. Sorry, no loading, no unloading. There we go. I don't think it matters too much anyway. But yeah, it helps to have that. No loading, no unloading. That's non-stop via. That's fine. There we go. So this one then is going to run down this way. And it's going to run to... I forgot the name of the place now already. Gardner Street. It's a nice name. Very nice name indeed. See, I'm happy with the way this. Again, it's a metro. It's not a metro. It's a tram. But you know what I mean. It's a metro in terms of the grand scheme of things here. You can imagine there'll be loads of YouTube channels like RM Transit saying that it's not a metro. It's a tram. Things like that, and I revel off that idea. Not that I don't like RM Transit, I'm a big fan of Reese, but yeah, for me personally, I like the idea of occasionally winding people up with my misnomers. Right, set this to 30, drop this down to 10. I was about to go into tutorial mode then and tell you how I was doing the speed limits here, but I don't need to do that. If you'd like to know how I'm doing it, head over to the channel and watch the tutorial series, and you'll see how I do it. All the little secrets, the little tricks of the trade. You'll also notice here, so I have 1 minute there for the depot, except you're not a depot, sorry. I've got 15 minutes there for the depot, and then it's 5 minutes here at Sanley. It's also 5 minutes at Gardner Street, which is there, which is the terminus. And then it's 2 minutes again when it returns to Sanley. I think those are the best wait times. I'm really tempted to test out. I'm really tempted to test out conditional orders with this and actually start it here at Gardner Street, run it into Sanley, and then alternate it so that one comes down this way up to Frundington and the other goes up this way to Brodhatton. But I don't know. Maybe I'll do that in a future episode as well. The only thing I don't know is whether or not conditional orders works now with with timetabling and scheduled dispatch, and I don't want to get it wrong, because that's something that I would do a lot, to be honest, is get it wrong. So yeah, we're going to do this. We're going to set up scheduled. Actually, we're not going to set up scheduled dispatch on this one yet. I'm actually just going to hit autofill. I'm going to see if I follow this one now. Will it autofill before I set up scheduled dispatch? So bear with. I'm just going to fill the orders for this one, and then we'll see what happens. Okay, so it's all complete, all set up. Very interesting that it still went in the depot here, which I wasn't expecting. I don't quite know why it did that. That's very unusual, but it is what it is. So yeah, we can now set this up. I'm going to set it for this schedule here. There we go. And we're going to do something very similar to what we've done at the top there. But we're going to start at 7. Oops, I always forget to hit control. You'd think I'd listen to my own tutorials, wouldn't you? But alas, no. So yeah, we're going to start at 7:05 every 10 minutes until, what's it, 20:05. There it is, 20:05. Bam. Then, where are we? Down here. So at 20:05, it's then going to go every 15 minutes. So it's going to be 20:20, 20:35, 20:50, 21:05, and 21:20. Oops. And how long do we do this for? 21. Yeah, so then it'd be 21:35, 21:50, and then is it at 10 that we start going half hourly? Yes, it is. So it will be 22:05, 22:35, 23:05, 23:35. And then 0:05, 0:35. Now we scroll back up the top here. And 1:05. And then it's 6:05 and 6:35. Okay, so both of these right now need only 6 vehicles, which is pretty accurate, I would say. We're going to do 8 minutes before the slot is skipped. I don't think we'll ever get to 8 minutes, to be honest, with the way this is set up, but we shall see. Okay, so we've done the line out to Sanley Harbour, and we've done the line down to Gardner Street. There are 3 lines left to go, so I'm going to go and populate those right now. Alright, so this is it. This is the 5 lines up and running. We've got SM01, which runs out here to Sanley Harbour, SM02, which runs down here to Gardner Street, SM03, I'll say 03, 03, whatever, runs up here to Fundington East, 04 to Lower Docklands, and 05 to Brodhatton Central. Now, in future, we could perhaps consolidate these lines a little bit and have, say, Gardner Street to Lower Docklands and Sanley Harbour, and then maybe have Fundington East round through Sanley and out to Brodhatton Central. Maybe. I don't know. That's purely me speculating right now. Main thing is we have got a basis for this to all be up and running and working. Now, I would love to do the railway depot here as well, but I think with how long this episode has been going on for, I think this is actually a pretty good length for an episode. So I won't be doing... I thought that said it had 100. Oh no, that's 100%. That one there. That's fine. I don't think I'll be doing anything more in today's episode. Now, there was one other thing I wanted to look at, which was passenger, town cargo generation factor. I want to reduce this, so we should have less passengers now. And town cargo generation linear. I think linear is fine. Town twice the size generates twice the amount of passengers. That kind of makes sense. Town twice the size generates 4 times as many. No, I think twice as many is fine. Why did that reset? That should be 0.5, right? Don't reset. Let's try that again. Oops. Yeah, why have you reset? I think I've had this problem before. So default value is 0. Can I set you to 0? Without you resetting? I think I've had this problem before. Yeah, look, it's gone back to 1.1. Ah, that might be the script that I've got. I've got peaks and troughs installed, and it could well be that that's what's happening. That would make sense. That would actually make sense. But yeah, look, if I scroll down here, this is our timetable, departure board here from Sanley Central. Obviously, there will be trains here in the future as well. But right now, it's really nice to see that we've got the next few, actually, right the way up until 1:29 a.m. It's currently, 12 minutes past 9. Which it very nearly is in real life as well. That's quite fitting. So I'm quite happy with this. There is one more aspect of today's episode that I wanted to talk about. I'm probably not going to do it here on camera right now, because I imagine it's going to be quite a fiddly job. But I've talked before about this database project that I want to get off the ground. And I know George has been helping me with it, but again, same as with Master Trams, life gets in the way, work commitments, being a uni student, all that good stuff. It's stuff that I can definitely relate to. It's been a while now since I could relate to being a uni student, but it is something that I have done in my life. And I get it. It's not always easy to find time to do other things when you're worried about exams and coursework and this, that, and the other. So I totally understand. So the database, how I originally envisaged it, is probably a non-starter. It's not going to happen. However, there is another option, and I'm going to be doing that for the time being. And I'm hoping that in the future it might be possible to convert what I'm going to be doing right now over into an actual database that can be accessed by anyone who wants to access it, basically. So my plan is to create a series of spreadsheets and log lines, stations. I had 4 things that I wanted to catalogue. So I guess routes or franchises, that's probably the one I was trying to think of. Franchises, main lines, vehicles, and stations. They're the 4 ones. So franchises will be things like, Guard City, Great Western. How many stations does that franchise have? What routes does that station occupy? And then for routes, which franchises run on them? Which stations are on those routes? And then for stations, which franchise owns and operates it? More often than not, it will be M4J Transport, but you never know. And then also which franchises call there. And then vehicles, so franchises will also have a list of rolling stock, and that will be what leads me into this here. So these trams are all part of Sanley Metro, and they will be categorized as such and catalogued as such. So right now they've just got basic names, SM03 vehicle number 649. That will change. I will start naming. In fact, I can probably remove that option now. Show group name with departures. No, that's fine. Add vehicle to group on coffee client. That's fine. Show vehicle group in details. What am I looking for? I'm looking for an option where it doesn't have the group name as part of the vehicle name. And I'm not seeing it because this is all for departure board. Huh. Let me change this to say name. Vehicle name. Vehicle name's modern. Okay, no idea what that means. Show group hierarchy. That'd be cool. Oh yeah, so that works. But that's not what I want to show. So this is all to do with departure boards still, which is not what I want. I don't know. There is a setting for this. I will need to find it again. But essentially each vehicle is going to have its own unique name, and it's not just going to be like bus number 1, bus number 2. They're going to have I don't know what the naming convention is for buses, but I know for trams it's pretty similar to trains. So I'm going to start giving them their own dedicated vehicle number, and then that vehicle number will be logged in the database as belonging to this franchise. And what that does mean is in the future it won't be as easy to take a tram from here, say, and move it to Guard City. But if I was to send a tram here to the depot, sell it, go to Guard City, buy a new tram, give it the same name, obviously it has to be the same type of tram as well, then you can simulate that that tram has moved from one network to another. I'm hoping it'll be as easy as that. We could also do something similar with trains. So say we had a train that operated out of Sanley Central here, and it just ran the shuttle down to Sanley Harbour and back, and then we decided that actually that train would be better off working one of the Bar City Connect Southern services. We can relocate it. So instead of selling it and then rebuilding it over at Bar City, we could try and actually run it from the depot here over to Bar City and then integrate it into the new services there and then change its log on the database. And the idea would be that if I was to change the name of the franchise in the vehicle settings, or the vehicle database, I guess, it would then update all the others as well, which is what I wanted the actual database to do. I don't know how easy it's going to be to do that on spreadsheets. It's probably going to be borderline impossible, but that's the dream. And then you guys can head over to my website or download an app, whatever it might be, and you'll be able to see what vehicles are operating where on the network. And it would help also with our patrons as well. They'll be able to see where their vehicles are, which vehicles are part of their franchise, and what stations and routes and all that kind of thing. And it'll just be a really neat but nerdy way of managing the network as far as I'm concerned. There are probably, again, better ways of doing it, but it's what I would like to do. Anyway, I'm going to leave these vehicles at the bottom here, these three, to autofill their timetables. You guys don't have to stick around for that. That's absolutely fine. But I'm going to keep an eye on them. They're going to leave in a couple of minutes anyway, so that's all good. Once they're done, I'm going to add the scheduled dispatch using these two here as a basis. And then I'm going to start adding the rest of the vehicles to this. Probably will get round to renaming them at some point too. I think Sanley here is a really good test bed because it's completely separate from the rest of the network. It's not like Guard City where there's so many lines that connect to one another, and there's so many buses and trams and boats and things like that. Apart from the station here at Sanley, everything else is completely separate. So to me, it's a really good opportunity to actually test some things out and see what works and what doesn't. And hopefully we cheer up the local population here as well, because right now the local authorities do not like me in the slightest. So yeah, having them have a smiley face on would be nice too. Right, it's been awesome being back here on the network. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video. For now though, thank you very much for watching. If you have enjoyed the video, then be sure to hit that like button, or if you've been enjoying the series so far, it really does help me out, the interaction levels and all that good stuff. Likewise, if you've got ideas for future episodes, or if you've got any answers to the questions that I've asked during this video, or even if you'd like to help out with the database project one way or another, whether it's setting up spreadsheets with myself and George, or whether it will be actually creating an app that people can use. Drop some comments down below or head over to my Discord, link is in the description. Otherwise, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button. We've had loads and loads of good interaction and good new people joining from the openttd community. So if you're someone who's been watching these videos for a while and is not yet subbed to the channel, why not hit that subscribe button? Again, it really does help me out and I'm very, very appreciative of it. And if you have already hit that subscribe button, especially in recent weeks, thank you guys for your support. And if you've been doing it for a while, thank you guys for your continued support. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your evening. And until next time, I will see you soon.